How are you feeling?
The Kennedy report. I don't really know if anyone's listening anymore, but this will be my final report. It all comes down to this. Me, Ashley, and the CEO of Sephora himself, Ashley and Ashley's father. One would think I would sound a lot more excited, given the fact that both Ashley and I finally gotten rid of our unexpected pregnancies. It's been a long time since I've even thought about all of my original goals for this mission, but at least I can scratch that one off the list too. We've lost many friends and enemies along the way. My American friends, who thought this to be a routine mission. Lewis, who was a cop turned researcher turned corpse. And Ashley, once thought to be a manager, but who revealed himself as Ashley's brother and former heir to the Sephora fortune. Jack Strapp, an American, former friend, former enemy. Mike even had a dong, potentially got caught in the crossfire, because even though she saved me, I don't know what became of her. At the end of it all, Ashley was just as much of a victim as she is responsible. The sins of the father should not have to be repaid by the son or the daughter. So I'll be taking payment directly from him. He's the only one left standing in my way. This is way more than a conspiracy now.
I don't know about you, but I think it's time we go home.
The final chapter begins. I looped around to the previous room and grabbed ammo. I walked outside to see my British friend one last time. What was his stake in all this? Who's to say? I sort my inventory and sell the hundreds of bullets that had no place in my inventory. I walked into the elevator without Ashley, with almost nothing to my name. But that was okay. I had a secret weapon. Sure enough, Daddy Sephora stood at the top of the elevator, and Hada was strung up nearby. I cut her down and speak face to face with the man who both saved me in the beginning and wants to end me in the finale. I asked him what his plan was, and why he had the right to toy with people's lives with cosmetic happiness. He said it was easy. After the fall of the Umbrella Corporation, Sephora got a lot of its properties, both known and unknown to the public. And they harbored so much unused cosmetic recipes and experiments that he couldn't help but explore. His son, Ash, was equally excited to experiment, perhaps even more so, and his eccentricity drove him to the creation of the parasite, or, eventually, the Karencyte. The Karencyte was a parasite, shocking, that feeds off the negative energy from customers, which can easily be gained en masse, but it couldn't be controlled. Not yet. Someone needed to be the head Karen to control it all, completely overturning the economical market and causing all those infected to shop only at Sephora until they can buy more companies and become a monopoly of everything. So basically, Disney. Ash couldn't handle being the head Karen, and it left him destroyed inside and out. But there was an easily influenced alternative choice. Ashley was the perfect choice. Except the Americans caught on and sent Jack Strapp to stop the production and seize it for themselves. But Jack wanted the power for himself, hoping the makeup would fix his own deformity and help him gain fame for his actions. He went to Sephora's side quickly, despite them knowing his intended betrayal. Both Jack and Ash were set up to take the fall once America sent another agent. Me. Now he'd reached the final phase of his plan. He was using Ashley's body and the Karencyte to create one ultimate being, the worst of both worlds. The status of the Ashley, with the horridness of a Karen. A Sharon. She would have the desire for a monopoly, and both the looks and talent to woo others who weren't infected. A reality show was planned for this new poster child, feeding off the negativity of all those who watched it. I was supposed to serve as the true successor of Ash's efforts. The male Karen. Kyle. But now the plan was foiled due to the purge of the Karen sites, and Sephora risked exposure. He had to bury it all now, and transformed right in front of my eyes. It looked hopeless. He was fast and strong, and I could barely turn 90 degrees on a whim. I only had one option. My secret weapon. Daddy Sephora was a bit of an older guy who ran a large corporation. There was only one thing that could defeat him. Modern technology. I pulled out a special launcher that launched PDF files at him and fired. Even with all of those eyes, he couldn't understand what a PDF even was, let alone the difference between a browser and a search engine. And he combusted from the inside while trying to decipher such unknown text. In an instant, it was over. Sephora could either adopt better business practices or crumble over its schemes. The experimental makeup sample dropped from Daddy Sephora's body, and before I could get my hands on it, I feel an energy of sass behind me. Hadda threatened me for the sample. She was after it all along. Or at least, Wesker was. If anyone can handle being such a humongous Karen, it was him. Hadda said now that Ashley was a normal girl again, they didn't need her, and took the sample instead. So she can bring her family's legacy down all she wants. It was obvious that this was their play from the start, and we were used in their game too.
She really pushed it.
I didn't mind getting used by her. But before I could respond, she pushed a button and told me the island was going to blow up.
See you around.
Very cute.
I booked my ass out of there and grabbed Ashley, who asked where her dad was. I told her he was dead.
What?
We find a jet ski,
Hang on, sweetheart.
and now I'm imagining Hadda on it. She used to be a homie, but now she's foamy. Impending death didn't knock me out of my stupor, but I find my way out of the cave just as the island goes down. But suddenly, Ashley is dragged away from my jet ski.
Ashley!
This can't be. After all this, she's just gone? I can't believe it. The only evidence apart from my word, which will immediately be buried with me if I speak out, and it falls off at the last second. I look, and I look, but there's nothing. No one. It was over. I call Hunnigan, who tells me that if she's still out there, I need to find her, and fast. I ride off into the sunset alone, with no leads, only a hand cannon with her captors' names on it. So, can you beat Resident Evil 4 with just the hand cannon? Definitely, if you have the ammunition. Then again, this isn't the only playable media with the name Resident Evil 4, so it seems like we're not exactly done. Actually, I'm not even done with this game yet. For shits and giggles, I ran through the whole game again, about a day or two after finishing this run. I played round 4 for the save. I wasn't doing the challenge again, but I upgraded the hand cannon to its infinite version, and used absolutely nothing besides it for the whole game. Except for 2 times I used grenades in the same section, one of which was incendiary, so it was useless anyway. It took me 5 hours, one sitting, and it taught me a few things. Also, if you've seen any footage in the challenge where it looks like the gun was infinite, I tried to record some clips of scenes that got corrupted prior. but mostly the bulldozer section. I learned quickly that ammo still drops for the gun, even when it's infinite. 15 bullets in one section of the game. I legitimately think that's more ammo than I received throughout the entirety of the village section for my challenge playthrough. Ammo was coming out of everywhere this time around. Maybe it was because I was able to use the gun more, and the game registered it as my main weapon. Even though it was my only weapon throughout the game, for the entire last playthrough, apart from the Magnum, which ammo also started dropping for. A part I wish I had recorded was the cabin fight. I was hunkered down, waiting to get the cabin full of enemies so I could see how many dropped ammo. Guess what? Only 2 enemies ever entered the cabin, because Louise literally killed all of them before they could step inside. I killed maybe 5 total. I've never had the cabin fight be this easy, ever, and that includes when I used the laser weapon during it. To do this, I just blocked off one window we spawn at, and then open up the other 2 immediately, and Louise just goes to town on them. Whenever the first window became unblocked, I just blocked the other 2. We didn't even transition to the upstairs segment. We didn't have to go upstairs at all. For the ladder, it just ended. Wow. So, I learned a new strat for the triple turret section. Don't go to the left at all. Hide under the left turret where there's an herb. After laying low, go up the ladder and go behind the left turret's building. Watch out for the ball chain guy. Fire at the turret across from you and take out enemies climbing after you. Then you can take out the turret in the same area as you. Now you can go anywhere and try and snipe the final turret. Unless you're like me, where Leon decides to wave his gun around at everything except in front of him, and you miss 5 shots in the process. You're not going to believe this. I tried to get footage retroactively, but after using my prior strategy to get through the second turret part on the first try using only 2 herbs in like 3 minutes, the entire area is clear. And then, I kid you not, Mike told me to take cover as he immediately blew up one of the turrets, even though it was unmanned at this point. And there were no more enemies spawning in. Going into the Sadler fight, I was pretty sure I had enough supplies, but since aiming a slow gun is terrible on console, I just shot Sadler's body, and it still trivialized the fight. I landed 2 lucky eye shots with helped out, but if the hand cannon is max, you can just shoot the body, and the fight is over real quick. I ended the game with 50 Magnum ammo and 160 hand cannon ammo. I did this because I wanted to go through the game a 3rd time with my hand cannon being limited again. But honestly, I think I fried my brain playing this game. The hand cannon honestly makes any game easier. And with you not being able to store items like in the remake and even prior Resident Evil games, it doesn't really like you straying from the core gameplay of pistol shotgun rifle. The game will give you so much ammo for all of these guns, especially when you don't have any of these guns. I actually have 500 handgun ammo at one point, and every time I sold it all, I would get more because of the loot system. I think I'd have a lot of fun modding this game, especially with that randomizer I've heard about. In the meantime, Leon's war against the cosmetic conspiracy isn't quite over yet, as it seems someone else is still pulling the strings. Corporations are like cockroaches. You think you've stomped one, and not only is it still alive, but 1,000 other ones operating under your nose the whole time come out of the woodwork to make your day worse. Also, it seems the US government itself has a hand in the cookie jar. And we want to find out what parts are chocolate chip and which ones are just shit. Thank you for watching. This has definitely been a much longer challenge than you're probably used to. I scripted this while I played the game, so if it seems like a jumble of ideas, it is. And it probably ended up being a series instead of just one long video. Either way, if you've made it this far, I'm genuinely impressed and happy and proud of myself.